Good afternoon. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio Network, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC, to educate, to enlighten, to entertain. And on today's episode of Lest We Forget Historical, host Lillian Caldwell is going to talk about how to pack your medications so that when you fly either abroad or even domestically within the United States, how your medication can travel with you without it being confiscated by the TSA. Now, most people who are on the internet, whether they're using their laptops or computers or even their cell phones or tablets, will see a lot of information now on what a TSA agent, or the first time he sets his to be able to walk as you know where you're going. It's called confidence, the ability to believe in yourself no matter what. Because if you project the image that you're capable of taking care of yourself and that you're not afraid, in quotes, there's no reason for you to be afraid. You're in your airport. And unlike some European airports I can name, there are no armed soldiers with submachine guns standing around waiting to inspect you as you go by and then randomly asking you for your passport and ID papers. So you have to present a positive behavior that emanates from your body so that when the TSA agent looks at you, you're not intimidated. Their job is to make sure you're not bringing any deadly substances onto the plane and possibly blowing it up or bringing in cutters to cut somebody up. Trust me, there's enough problems with passengers and their unruly behavior. You do not need an excuse to get the TSA agent suspicious of your behavior. So, what do you need to do in order to pack your medication securely? Bring it on board with you without it being confiscated by the TSA. The TSA will allow you to bring your medication onto a plane, either in your pocketbook, a carry-on, or checked baggage, one of those over-the-shoulder folder holders that you can hoist easily above your head and put it in the overhead. You will not have access to your checked baggage that goes into the belly of the beast, which is the airplane, when you're flying. So you have to make sure that you do have access to your medication. So it is highly recommended that you put it in your carry-on or your pocketbook or your briefcase or whatever you're bringing with you onto the plane. Remember, your check bag contains your meds. Get lost, then your medication is lost. So you want to keep it with you. If you're carrying a camera and you have a camera case and that's all you're carrying on, you may want to put it in your camera case. There's always plenty of room. How do I know this? Because my husband always carried a digital camera with him and he would pack his medication in camera case, knowing that he was the type of in the evening before he went to bed. Problem solved. Medication brought on. No problem. If you bring your medication on as a carry-on, you should not be forced to declare it or required to show it unless you're bringing liquid medication or certain other types of medical instruments like syringes. So if you're a diabetic and you need to bring your needle aboard with you so you can give yourself a shot of insulin, make sure you have a doctor's permission slip telling the TSA agent this is what the needle is for. you're not using it for drugs, recreational. Some travelers do tell the TSA agents about the medications they are bringing, but you don't have to. It's not a requirement. When you're packing your pills or medication, it's highly suggested you keep them organized in a clear plastic bag just to make things easy at all times. So if you're asked to show them, you can hold up the plastic bag, turn the bottle around inside or the box, or however you receive your medication, so the TSA agent can read all the information on the bottle. Try to pack that bag in an easily accessible area within your carry-on so that you can quickly retrieve it if you need to declare it or allow inspection for any of your medications. It's also a good idea for your medications to be labeled to facilitate the security process. This is recommended by the TSA. So if you bring a prescription bottle from your pharmacy, all the information on that label is already adhered to that plastic bottle. When you take your packed on carry-on through a security checkpoint, your medication will be x-rayed and provide a visual. So they should be able to see the labels on those bottles very, very clearly. The TSA does not require your pills to be in a prescription bottle or showing them a copy of your prescription itself. The catch is most states have different laws regarding how you legally travel with prescription items. Some states might require you to carry your pills and a bottle with a prescription, and therefore, it's suggested it's always a good idea to keep your pills in a bottle with a prescription label, i.e. the one that you get from the drugstore. Whether it's mailed to you, you pick it up, or somebody brings it over for you. Or if you don't remember that, keep the original, take a picture with your cell phone of the prescription that the doctor gave you so you can show it to the TSA agent should he or she question you. The other thing, if you're traveling abroad, many countries have very strict rules about what you're allowed to bring in as prescription medication. So make sure you do your research on Google or call up your embassy in Washington and find out what the latest laws are in those particular countries before you leave the USA. Some might require you a letter from a physician, and some countries, such as those in the Middle East, they have very strict laws regarding bringing in certain types of medication. I remember my father telling me that when he had to go into some of the Arabian countries, one as a natural gas and oil and gas consultant, he had to get a letter stating that he was Christian. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let him in the country at all. And by the way, it's not difficult to find stories about U.S. tourists getting locked up abroad in prison for bringing medication through the airport. So one of the things you need to do is go over to the Travel International with Medication and find out what they recommend and what they suggest. If you forget your ID, you can actually use your prescription labels to help verify your identity. However, please remember that if you're using an alias or nickname, you're going to be in trouble. Everything needs to line up. Everything needs to be on the same level plane. Now, a tip. Ask your pharmacist for extra containers with your name and the medication information on them if you want to carry smaller amounts of the prescribed drugs with you. So you're probably asking yourself, Lillian, what are the TSA rules for flying on a plane with injectable medication. I have it for my migraines, where I have to give myself a shot in the thigh. You are allowed to travel with injectable medication on a plane. You may also bring unused syringes when they are accompanied by injectable medication. You need to declare these items to the security officers at the checkpoint for inspection. The TSA also recommends, but doesn't require, that your medications be labeled. So it's a good idea to go with what the TSA recommends. If you need to keep your medication refrigerated, and I have had medication like that I needed to keep in the refrigerator, you can use ice packs, freezer packs, gel packs, and other accessories to keep your medication cool. You will need to present them at the screening checkpoint in a frozen or partially frozen state. It also would be a good idea to do a test run to see how long your packs can stay refrigerated, especially if you're going to be dealing with a long layover or a long flight. Say to New Zealand and Australia, those are long flights. Those are 2 days. Now, does TSA allow over-the-counter medication on a plane? Good question. You know why? Because half my medication is vitamin C, vitamin B, vitamin D, folic acid, magnesium. You get the idea. TSA will allow you to bring over-the-counter medication on a plane, which you find you can bring along things like Tylenol, Advil, Aleve, ibuprofen. Just remember, though, that the rules pertaining to liquids will apply to OTC drugs unless they're medically necessary. Cough medicine, sleep aids, stuff for your hair. So remember that. Liquids are a no-no. I always advise, TSA always advises people to put their medication in a clear plastic bag. Can't emphasize that enough. To make things easier when you're going through airport security. What about some other items, Lillian? How does the TSA look for those things? And they recommend bringing other types of items through the airport, like food or alcohol. Make sure that you check out some of these links on Google. Bringing food through an airport, they'll tell you. Bringing alcohol through an airport, they'll tell you as well. Bringing gun cases through an airport. So what are some of the usual questions and answers that the TSA get and you're too shy to ask? Can you take prescription medication on a plane? Yes, it's allowed on a plane. Does my medication need to be in the original bottle? No, it does not have to be in the original bottle. However, it's a good idea to have the prescription on hand, just in case a TSA agent asks to see it. Can you sneak pills on an airplane? They advise you to be upfront about bringing medication through security, especially because TSA is pretty flexible about what medications you can bring through, and all medication must be screened. If you try to sneak illegal drugs through, then you'll be handed over to the police. And the airport has their own police, and they hand you over to the jurisdictional police when you leave the airport. Can I take a pill organizer on a plane? Yes, you can. Can I bring someone else's prescription on a plane? Now, the TSA does not require you show your prescription, so it can be possible to bring your mother's prescriptions with you on a plane. However, it's a good idea to make sure you are complying with the state laws and or the country laws regarding your mother, friend's, relative, child's prescription. In some cases, it might be illegal to possess controlled substances prescribed to someone else. Can you fly with cough syrup? Yes. Cough syrup is considered a liquid, so you should declare it when going through TSA. especially if it's above 3.4 ounces. Can you bring testosterone gel on a plane? Yes, you can bring testosterone gel on a plane. While you may not need your prescription, it never hurts to bring your own. Can I bring needles on a plane? The TSA states used syringes are allowed when transported in sharps disposal container or other similar hard surface containers. Unused syringes are allowed when accompanied by injectable medication. You must declare these items to security officers at the checkpoint for inspection. As you can probably tell from what I've just discussed, the TSA rules regarding medication are actually pretty lenient here in the United States. They allow you to bring an unlimited amount of pills and solid drugs, and they don't even require you to show or disclose that you're bringing those drugs through the airport and onto the plane. They also allow you to bring in liquids if you're willing to allow them to inspect your drugs if necessary. And they don't even require you to show your prescription for the drugs. Therefore, if you're planning to travel through the airport with your medication, you may not have as difficult time as you may imagine. Something for you to keep in mind. And remember, don't make trouble. Trouble comes along very easily without any help from you. So just remember, you're in good hands with yourself, your common sense, and having all the necessary detailed information you might need when boarding a plane. Thank you very much for listening to Lest We Forget Historical, talking about taking medication with you through security and onto a plane. It's a little more difficult depending where you are in Eurasia. You can listen and see this talk, episode, podcast all over again at youtube.com/Passionate World Radio, PW Talk Radio. Also at our website, passionateworldtalkradio.com. Also on facebook.com/Passionate World Radio, and all of our 15 to 20 social media distribution sites. And before you go away and stray, as I say, please, if you're interested in learning how to do a podcast from the very, very beginning to its very, very end and be recognized as being a top-notch influencer, please go over to education.passionateworldtalkradio.com. education.passionateworldtalkradio.com/masterclass and register for the Obstacles of Podcast Certificate Training. And you too can embark on a future that will help you get from A to B. Text me at 484-364-1032. Give me your name, your email, phone number, and tell me, Lillian, I want to hear more about the Obstacles of Podcasting Training Certificate course. Or email us at pwrnetworkllc@gmail.com. One other thing before you go away and stray. Are you using AI yet, whether it's through Bing or Microsoft or even Google? Well, if you are, I have a place where you need to go and check it out, and it will tell you everything you need. Go to www.mymyflex.ai/ESC73 and take a good look around. Questions? Text 484-364-1032. Email pwrnetworkllc@gmail.com. Information: interested in rubi.ai. You won't regret it, and it will blow your mind. Thank you very much for listening and have a grand weekend.